This conference will now be recorded.
Thank you. Mule will talk to different kinds of end systems. Okay, different kinds of messages will come to Mule. So how the Mule manages to process the different kinds of messages is it has primarily two components: message event sources and event processors, right? So event sources are the guys, they will pick the message from external world and they transform the message coming from external world into a format called mule event, right? And event processors are the actual workers on the event, they will process the event, right? So event processors will take the mule event that is created by the event source, right? And they will work on the mule event, right? So communication with external systems, external applications will taken care by the event sources. Event source will take the message and transform mule event, and once that process is completed, event processors hand over the mule event to the event source, and event source take that mule event and once again transform back to the client format from which client it gets, it transform to the client, understandable to client and given to client. Okay, so in this way the process will go. So for this you understand the two primary component, event source and event processors. So as integration developer, you need to develop a logic around these two components, event sources, event processors, right? So in the Mule, we consolidate these two and we form a structure called a flow. So flow is a combination of event sources and event processors. You put the event processors in front, therefore you'll take the message, it communicate with the external world, and you put event processors after that, right? So this structure is called a flow. So today agenda is we deep dive into the flow. Okay, we see different components of the flow and the source code of flow. We see how to create a multiple flows, those stuff, right? So you guys having any doubts, any clarifications, any questions on the yesterday session? So far clear, or you require more explanation? Just you can write in the chat box. Clear means just clear. I will continue to the next topic. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Shiva, Varun, and Rama. Okay, I'll continue. Then, okay, so I developed a simple application in the AnyPoint platform. Thank you, Ravi. So this is the application, and in this application, the important file so far we referred is this XML file. The flows means in this XML file we will design the flows, right? So this guy will talk to external world. These are event processors, right? So if you observe this this editor, there are message flow section is there, global elements and configuration XML. Okay, three sections are there. So message flow is a graphical representation of your integration. Okay, and this configuration XML is the equivalent source code representation. So if you observe, we have one flow over here. So for this flow, the source code representation is like this, the flow XML tab, XML, right? And every flow has to need to have a unique name. So if you observe, the name of the flow is this is the name of the flow, and your IDE automatically creates a unique ID for each flow, which is called doc ID. Not only flow, for every component using it automatically generates a unique ID. Okay, so if you see the flow, and inside flow there are four here you're observing 4 lines, right? So the first line is HTTP listener configuration. That is equivalent to your this one event source configuration. And next following with the 3 logger components. So those 3 logger components represented over here like this, logger. Okay. So this source code representation and the graphical representation go in hand in hand. If you change anything over here, the source code will automatically getting generated over here. If you do any changes over here, it represents it changes the graphical representation, right? If you add one more logger over here, simply like this. So one more logger got added on the graphical representation. See one logger got added, right? So that's the important thing you keep in mind. It always best practice to see the source code also, observe the source code, how the source code is getting generated. It's very important. Sometimes we need to tune the source code, we need to understand the source code. So from initial days onwards, please concentrate on the source code also, right? And now coming to global elements. Okay, so see the configuration we are doing inside this flow is under only this flow scope. It means this configuration is available on this flow only. Okay, so you may have multiple flows. So this is one flow, and I will copy and I'm creating one more flow. Okay, so I have 2 flows, but it's complaining 2 flows the same name. It won't allow. Every flow should have a unique name. Okay, therefore I'm changing the name to something like this, flow 2. Okay, now I have 2 flows. If you see here, 2 flows, right? So sometimes you want to have a common configuration, global configuration for all the flows in your XML. In that scenario, the global configuration will be goes over here. Okay, here if you observe, this HTTP configuration is not inside any flow. Okay, so this HTTP configuration is above all the flows. Now you can assume this is as a global configuration. Okay. And here, see, there is a listener configuration inside your flow. Okay, what you're doing is you are referring this global configuration. Okay, so this global configuration has a name. What is the name of this global configuration? The name is HTTP configure listener config. HTTP listener config is the name of this global configuration. And in the flow, in this local configuration, configure ref, we are referring the global configuration. Okay, this configuration we're referring over here. All right. So now this common, you can create any flows and you can refer this global configuration. See here, you have 2 flows, right? 2 flows, I'm referring this global configuration. Okay, clear about global configuration? Not only yes. HTTP, if you have some kind of database calls in multiple flows. Okay, so in that case, the database configuration you create as a global configuration, and you refer that global configuration in the flows.
Sai, from graphical representation, where can I find the HTTP listener config name?
In the graphical representation, go to global elements over here, and you can see the name of this one. Because the global configuration, right, is not visible over here.
So this name is automatically configured by the process itself.
Which this one, right?
Yeah, that configuration
name. Yeah, if you it will automatically configure, but you can, if want, you can change. You suppose you have multiple HTTP configurations. Okay, see like this. I have one HTTP configuration and I have one more HTTP configuration. Okay, this is pointing to 8085, I think. Okay, ports. And
so whatever
see
is
now,
the listener, this
yeah,
configuration will come depends upon the listener name, because it has the port and host also, right?
yeah, yes, yes. You can have different kinds of IP address and different ports, right?
Okay,
So
in the
where
same.
your actual HTTP listener is configured, in which machine, on which port,
Okay, so in
and
same
that
flow I
yeah,
can have
yeah,
multiple receivers also.
exactly correct. I can do change if I'm changing this configuration now, this one name, because I should have unique name, right? See now, this you can change automatically. It gives some name. Afterwards you can, if you have multiple things, you can change the name and you refer this name with the flows.
Okay.
Okay. So now see, I have two configuration here. This is run 8085. What I can do is I will refer this configuration in the second flow, right? This is an ID error. Sometimes don't worry, it complains like that. If you do some kind of things, it will go. It will not saved properly or not built. HTTP configuration.
And how can we see if what is the error scenario?
If you getting error, right, some need to complain some red mark over here. You need to move the cursor over there on the red mark.
Okay, then we'll get a text.
Yeah, you know, you go over text. So here this sometimes it will here I did modification, but it is not reflected, so that giving error. I did some here and there, so that build properly, and error is gone now. Okay. Now see, you have two flows, and one flow is referring the one global configuration, and other flow is referring the other global configuration, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you deploy, if you want to call this flow, just I'm deploying this application quickly. Run this application. I can see the progress over here.
Validate the complete process. Is there any possibility? For example, in one logger, there is some, while mapping, we have some error. Is there any feasibility to validate the complete process?
Validate in sense you want to debug the flow.
No,
Debugging,
not
you
debug.
will see. Yeah.
For example, in logger, while mapping, I did a wrong mapping.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And it is error.
Correct.
So before starting the deployment, is there any way to validate the process? Okay, whether code is fine or not. All the code is fine.
Yeah. Two things. One thing is, if you have any error, right, in the configuration, at compile time it will complaints. So if you do wrong configuration, it won't allow you, means the source code complains about it, some red marks like that. Okay.
Okay.
If your configuration is fine, sometimes you get runtime error by deployment or something like that. So then at that time you will be able to see what configuration went wrong in this console. It will clearly tells you, because of this I'm not able to deploy. The reason you can understand by seeing the console.
Okay. And if in the mule folder, if I have multiple process, for example, 10 flows are there.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
10 process are there. 10 process are there. But I want to test only one process, or I want to test 3 process. Can I select it, or there is no option?
Sure, Shiva. See, Shiva, now see, I deployed this application, right? Okay. Application deployed. No, this application contains 2 flows, right?
Correct.
So I want to test only this flow only. I don't want to test this flow. Okay. In that case, yeah.
The application, for example, process event.xml is there, right? This is the one process, complete process.
One process in sense, see, it contains your flows. Okay.
Yes. So in same way, if I have process event 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like that, multiple process events are there.
It's not.
So
yeah, I can create one more like this configuration file. You want not process, multiple configuration files you can have.
Configuration files, correct.
Okay.
So can we while doing deployment, can I select 4 or 5 and do deployment instead of doing all together, or we need to completely deploy the package?
Yeah, I'll explain you that one right now. See, it's like this. Okay. So this is your mule project. Okay. This is your mule project. You are developing an integration for a project, right? So in your project, there are different modules are there. Sometimes you can consolidate a similar kind of activities in one module. For suppose you're developing for an marketing, some order management. Okay, you have a sales module and you have operations module, something like this. Okay, so what you do is you in one XML file you develop all the sales related flows.
Correct.
The flows or the sales related flows in one XML file. You can call as a sales XML file. And you have one more XML file. This contains all the flows related to the operations. Okay. These operation flows, right? So your question is, I want to test all the sales flows, apply sales. Okay. No, it's not like that. So even though these are on the different XML files, physically they are different, but when you deploy this application to the server, okay, logically they run in the same context. One entire context is created. All the flows, sales and operations, all the flows come over here in one single context, and they will execute over one single context. Means why the different XML files? For our organization process. You want to organize your flows. No, you don't want to create a one single XML with large number of flows. So that become management of your flows is complex, right?
Yeah.
You need to scroll down. You need to because these decrease the readability, and you want to properly organize your flows according to modules. Then you can create multiple XML files, and all the related flows you can put one XML files. Therefore, it increases your manageability. Okay. For proper organization purpose only, we create XML files, but they all run in the same context. Okay. Or suppose you put a name, you create a flow with a.xml over here. This flow name is this flow name is flow A. Okay. And you can't create one more flow in different XML with flow A.
Okay.
Even to separate XML. Because when you deploy, all these flows come to a single context, right? Okay. Even though XMLs are different, they should have unique name. Every flow should have a unique name in your application.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah. Yes.
So only the reason they given multiple XML files is for proper organization purpose only. Okay.
Okay.
Guys, clear? Hope others also clear on this point now. Okay, we have XML file now. See, I deployed. If you want to test this flow, I want to invoke this listener. Okay, this listener, where is this? This listener is running. I want to see this listener config 2, and the endpoint of this listener is I configured 8085, right? So if you configure an 8085, the second flow is called. Why this is not opened? It's not reached over here. 8085, right? 8085 test. Okay, let me see the endpoint. Test is the path and the port is 8085, right? What we given? Test is the path and port is 8085 and sending query parameter. That doesn't matter. You can pass a query parameter. What is an error by sending a request? Invalid URL. Invalid URL. Let me see. It is up and running. Deployed. Process event. Okay, maybe it did not save this project. Therefore, okay, if I save this project, it will deploy again automatically. We will test with 80 other. This configuration is at 8082. Okay, test with 8082.
Is it required to execute it? Play command, play.
Which one?
After deployment, we need to start the component, right? Play. Starting.
Which one? This will be start for deployment. This two flow got deployed. Okay, and you can invoke any of this endpoint.
But there is a generally, for example, at the top we have a play button kind thing, right? Play button to
play. Play that is not required. A play. I never had a play in this.
No. I mean at the right side after the at the top. While create project is there, right? We can create project and we can execute it. Run.
Yeah, I already run the project. Therefore, you can able to see the deployed over here. It's deployed, and if you see the red mark over here, right? So if you put red highlighted, meaning that your application is up and running. Yeah, is running. Okay. Maybe this. I will refresh it. I will restart. One second, let me check this one. 8082 localhost 8082. Okay, redeploy again. Maybe it's not properly deployed. As some issue with the deployment. You can close over here. You will deploy again. So this is about the flow scoped configuration and the global configuration and graphical representation and source code representation that you
Srini,
need to.
Yep. Is the port number correct that we are calling?
Port number one is on 8082 Rama and second is 8085. These two
So
ports, right? We configure.
Yeah. So it is pointing to 8082, right? The flow we are executing now.
Yeah, first flow 8082 and second flow 8085.
Okay.
In the first flow, you're referring this configuration, and second flow, you're referring this configuration, right? So if you want to invoke this second flow, you need to put in 8085. First flow 8082. Right?
Okay.
JSON one. It's happening. So it's not a deployed. Deployed. This is correct. 8082 test strange is deployed, and these two configurations are. Yep, tell me.
It's not global element, right? It's two different ports, right? How come it's two global elements?
These two global configurations, right? So there are two global configuration. One is with name listener config and other name listener config 2.
Okay.
Okay. And this config 2 is referring in the flow 2 over here, and config 1 is referring in the this config referring in the flow 1. Okay. Sometime I will remove this one. JSON. Okay, I will test it again. There's not a reason, but strangely it should come. It's deployed successfully.
Or maybe it will not allow two receivers in one flow, one process.
It's not like that. We can in real-time project we have multiple things, right? Multiple points we can expose. Okay. Post HTTP post. Get. Okay, I'll check it out. Why it should come. Okay. Okay, I'll remove this configuration. Maybe. And what I do is I configure the same reference in multiple user config, and here also user config. Okay, and if you use this this like this, right? So referring the same configuration in multiple flows, and so if you invoke, it will confuse which flow need to invoke, right?
Or both.
So in that case, yeah, in that case you need to use a different path over here. This is like I put like 1, and this path has a 2. Something you need to give unique configuration to identify.
If it is same, then two will invoke, right? Two flows will invoke automatically. Or?
No, you will get error. You don't. You got the port conflict.
Okay.
So I will restart this thing.
It is post, right? Not get.
Even it is. I will take different request. HTTP localhost 8082.1. Yeah, now it is going. Maybe the tab something issue with this Postman also. But it doesn't return any response because we are not sending any response using set payload, right? So, but you can see the logger statements over here. Okay, logger statements null, null, np empty, because we are not sending any payload, right? In the body empty, we are sending empty bodies. Therefore, now it comes a blank, and we are not sending any query parameters, any header parameters, though. So that, but you are printing over here.
Right.
So these parameters are not available, so that it is sent a blank. Okay. So now the problem is the Postman, the client is not able to properly hit. So it is the same thing, right? If I now what I will do is I will send somebody raw. I will test some test. I will city is equal to channel. So now we're able to see the response. Okay, the same response returned. So this this payload will go over here, and you're able to see the things, right? And I'm not passing header parameters, so it is as going as a null. And these last two loggers, we are logging the payload. Okay, so hi mule is the one I'm sending the payload, right? This is a payload, and this thing will go inside a header. Therefore, once this parameter go as a header, once it reaches the mule event, this will go as a part of the attributes. So that thing we discussed, right? How the HTTP message is transformed to the mule message. You guys clear on the transformation of HTTP message to mule message? In HTTP message, what are query parameters, headers, all these things will go as part of the headers. Okay, and this payload will go as a part of the payload. So HTTP message has two parts, right? Header and payload, right? HTTP message two parts, header and payload. In the header parts, all query parameters, all these things will go in as header part. And as a payload part, the core information you are giving JSON, XML, or text is go as a payload part, right? So once it reaches the mule event source take this and prepares the mule event object. So how it constructs the mule event object? The header part takes the header part and copy to the attribute section, and payload part to the payload section, right? Okay, and variables. Okay, we'll see the variables today about variables. So this part will move to over here, and this part will move to here. And you want to access the header, then how you access? You need to access expression like this, attributes, because you need to access this will copied over here, attributes. If you passing query parameters, there's a query param dot that header name, what name you pass header name of header. And you want to access a payload, you can access like this, payload. You want to access the payload from the mule event, you need to write the expressions in this manner. Okay, So these expressions are designed in the logger component. I printed using logger over here, right? So far good. How the message, HTTP message reaches to the mule, and how the mule processing those requests, how mule transforming to mule event, and that mule event, how you access that mule event inside the flow using the expressions.
Even for payload, can I access only one field, Sai? The payload.
Okay. Payload, you want to access one field.
So like same payload dot something we can give. Or?
Exactly. Yeah, I'll show you the example on that. So what I am sending is a payload, not a text payload. In that case, you are sending some JSON payload. Okay. The payload is like this body, and I'm sending a JSON payload. This payload contains two parts. JSON payload is like this. Okay, this is my payload, right? So you want to access city, right? In that case, how you design your payload is payload dot city. This one I definitely want to payload dot name, right? So payload means you give entire payload, this thing. Okay, payload dot name returns the Sai, and payload dot city returns the HYD.
Okay.
All right. So I will save it. So if you save it, automatically deploys. So by saving, if you see this name started, means automatically deploys. Then you can hit again. Okay. If you hit again, you can see able to see logger over here. One moment, it's seeing entire payload.name. How come? Log processor, both entire payload is printing, but okay. Yeah, this one actually, this one entire name. Now we have two loggers, right? Okay.
Two.
Okay.
Change path.
I put the 8082. I need to invoke 8085. 8082 2. Okay. Yeah, path is 2, not 1. TW2. So 2 flows. Okay, I changed the second flow. Now we can see the signed HYD over here. Okay, got it. So this is path 2. Path 1, it will print entire payload, right?
Okay.
Earlier I invoked the path 80 to 82 port, and path 1 you're able to see entire payload, and if you path 2 it will choose like this. So this is a path 1 payload, is path 2. Right.
Okay.
Okay. So far clear how you access this payload from the mule event. Okay, how the mule event is getting constructed from the incoming message. So this is very fundamentally very important concept. If you understand this concept thoroughly, you can easily understand the rest of the concepts. Okay, I'm stressing and going very slow at this moment because this is a very important concept. You need to deeply rooted in your mind. So I'm going that slow. Okay, and coming to
Srini,
yeah,
I just got a question. HTTP listener configuration, there is a tab called metadata. Can we configure the metadata directly here? Like we have an option to add metadata. Like how do we configure it?
Where it is metadata?
HTTP listener configuration tabs.
Here or
In the canvas. No. Like configuration. HTTP listener configuration.
Configuration.
GUI.
Okay.
Designer. Yeah.
Message.
Message flow. Here.
Yeah. Message flow.
Okay. Here, right? In the okay. I got it. Let me open that one. Okay. Here you got talking metadata.
Yeah, so here we have an option, right? Add metadata. So how do we add metadata here?
Metadata, metadata in sense it is explain our output variables unknown. Metadata and metadata. So this metadata you want to add something about the payload. So here this is about attributes. This is about the variables, right? So at the configuration level, at the listener level, you want to give some information about the payload.
Okay.
Right? What kind of output you want to send out of this thing. So thus configuration you can go in. Now this is unknown because you can send out any kind of metadata back to your client, right? You want a specific kind of output should be sent out to client, right? So in that case you can configure over here, output the metadata, and now at this moment is unknown, and you put some configuration over here. You can add the metadata type, what kind of type you want to send it out. Okay, so I want to send it an XML text, get a type, and you can set that over here. But usually we won't configure in that one, but in specific cases you want to configure that one, you can send it like this XML, and you can configure some kind of XML over here. Now it restricts, it will accept that kind of thing only. Okay.
Yeah.
Different XML like that.
So
output as an XML.
This same like set payload. Like I mean, we have an option like set payload to send the payload back to this client, right? So here again, adding the same.
Set payload is actual content you are returning back to client. Okay. Here you are explaining about what kind of the payload you are sending back to client. Metadata is explain, give the details about your data, right?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to explain your mule event, what kind of event, what kind of the payload, and what kind of the attributes, what kind of variables are there, and what type of variables are there. You want to provide some kind of information, and using metadata you can provide those kind of information. So to define the types of your payload, variables, and attributes. Okay, that's the thing. Now we are at so we deployed two things. Okay. Now see, we are going to develop an integration, so we can't develop our entire integration in one single flow, right? Okay, so like we as a programmer, if you're developing any programming language, we will develop methods. We can't develop the entire integration and entire programming logic in one single method. We can't make a very big complex method, complex integration logic, right? So then what is the disadvantage in making your flow very complex? So we follow some design principle called a single responsibility. Anybody heard of single responsibility principle? It's not related to mule, it is some design principle, single responsibility. So industry recommends a single responsibility principle, means every flow should have one single responsibility. It should do one single thing. We can't overburden a flow for assigning multiple things per single flow. Okay. So for every single task, we develop a flow, right? Therefore, in our application, we develop multiple flows. Okay. So we won't overburden a single flow with huge logic. We will create a simple flows, very simple flows, contain a very simple logic, so that we can easily understand the flow, and you can easily debug. If any issue comes, you can easily fix, right? So we will develop multiple simple flows. Then there should be a way to call a flow, one flow from other flow, invoke a flow one from other flow, right? We need to reuse this logic more effectively. You develop one single flow, then this logic you want to reuse more effectively in multiple ways. And then you call this flow in multiple flows, right? Got it? Got it. So what I'm saying is, you want to remove the duplicate logic in your application, one thing, and other thing is you want to improve the readability of your integration logic, right? For that, we will develop multiple flows and we invoke one flow in the other flows. Okay, so for that we have a component called a flow reference. In the component palette, we call a flow reference is called a flow ref. Using the flow ref, in the flow ref we need to configure which flow you want to call. So if you put this flow ref or in this flow ref, and here we need to call which flow, the flow name, we need to configure flow name. If you configure flow name, it will call that specific flow, that particular flow. Okay, so here very good catch is there. It's not like it will call this thing and it will execute and they return back. It's not like that. So when you flow reference any flow, this flow has a event source and event processors, right? Okay, so what happens is, if you refer a flow, the event processors in the calling flow will come over here in this place, and they will execute in the calling flow. So the called flow event processors will come and executed in the called flow. Now these event processors will become a part of the calling flow. Confusing? If A called B, this A, this B. Okay, I use a flow reference. The flow reference, I tell that guy, please call B. I configure B. Now the event processors of the B will come and execute over here in this place. Okay, they will become part of the A.
Then how do we configure the event source for the second flow? Is it the same as the first flow?
In that case, why the event source is required? First thing we need to understand.
Yeah.
Why event source is required?
To receive a transaction.
Yeah, to communicate to external world, not internal. This is internal, right? Event source required when you want to talk to external world, right? But in this case, internal. One flow is calling other flow. You will ignore event source is ignored. Only event process is taken into consideration. Okay, so you can create a flow. You can create a flow without event source also. When simply putting all the event processors also, you can create a flow. Okay, in that case, this flow is not able to communicate to external world, right? Because there is no event source. Now why this flow? This flow might be called in other flows of your application. Okay,
to perform some action.
so this is called a private flow. They term as a private flow. Private means it's private to your application only. It is not called by external systems, external applications. It's not publicly exposed. Okay, so such flows are a private flow. Got it?
Yeah.
So event source is not mandatory. Event source, when you make this as flow as private, only the scope of this flow is only for your application. This logic need to be called in your internally to your application. Then don't expose this flow to external world. Remove the event source, and you can call this flow from other flows. In that case, this is all event processors will go and execute in that place. Yeah. So there is a flow reference. What I'm doing is now I'm configuring the flow reference, and here in the flow reference, the flow name we need to configure. You can't call the same flow. You click a cyclic and you get error, and you have to call the flow 2. Okay, I have two flows: process event flow 1 flow and process flow event flow 2. I'm calling flow 2. Okay. Now in that case, in this case, for readability purpose, you can change our display name as to some.
It will list down when I call for the process reference, it will list down all the process in the project, right?
Exactly. It will list all the flows in the project. You can see all the flows in the drop down. So you can select which flow you want to call. You can select that flow, and that flow will be referred.
And Sai, is it mandatory to create a new flow in the same folder, SRC main mule flows? In the same folder we need to create it, or we can create it in new folder?
All the flows will be there in this folder only. All the flow related XML files.
We should create, so whatever is there in this folder only visible in this call process.
Yeah. If you see, I have one more XML file over here. One more configuration.
New folder and create one process there, it will not appear.
Process means you're talking about flow, right?
Yeah. Yes, flow, correct.
Flow. Okay. I'm telling that one more process XML process 2.xml. Now, okay, here I have two XML files, right?
Right.
Okay. So for your question, what I'm doing is I'm taking out this flow from here and putting in here. Okay. I'll save it. Okay. Just want to. This is here. From here, I can call. See, even though that flow is a different XML, I can able to see that thing, right? That flow. Okay. So you can have multiple XML files because each XML file refers to one module, properly organized in real time. Okay. In module, but all the flows related to that XML. I'm sorry.
In process event, if I create a new folder, for example.
New folder.
Process event. Yeah, in process event.
New folder
project,
new
project. New folder itself, like in process event.
Here.
No, above the project name is process event, right? Project.
Okay. You want to create a new folder.
New folder, huh?
Okay, then okay, you can create a folder, but you can't keep the XML files in that one.
Okay.
XML files you need to keep only this flows section only. SRC main mule.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
So see, now I can call the flow that is in the different XML also. Here if you see the I'm calling the process event flow 2. Okay, this flow 2 in a here actually in this XML, right? So you can call what I want to demonstrate. You can call a XML flow that is in other XML files, because at the end they all run in a single context, right? Even though physically they are different, logically all XMLs are same. Okay, I think now it is deployed. I want to deploy it again. This thing. Now we're getting a deployment confirmation. Taking the time. Now this flow is, we're calling this flow from here, right? Okay. So now you will observe the 8 logger events. This logger afterwards, this 4 logger will execute it afterwards. These 4 loggers will come and execute over here in this space. Okay. So this flow is exposed at endpoint 80, 82. I think it's 1. I think it is 1 or 2, 1. Okay. 80, 82, 1. I make as a 1. 1. Now see the console part. You need to observe the 8 logger. Not outlets, it is console. See, these are 4 loggers and these 4 loggers, right? Got it? The first 4 loggers, and we're printing all the same payload here multiple times, and second logger, just we are wrapping, we are retrieving the name and the city information and printing over here, right? So any doubts so far? Anything? Any clarification required in this example? We have put the flow reference. Just put some clear on your chat box if what clear, or just confirm me. Okay. Right. Thank you. So this is about the flow reference. We'll see about calling one flow from other flow using the protocol endpoints, and about the variables in the next session. Okay, I have a little bit work now. I'm closing the session right away. You can ask a questions if any have questions and clarifications. I will discuss and we'll close the session for today.
So Srini, while creating an application like a project, we are adding these modules from the Mule palette. Like instead, like if you prepare an XML with all the modules that we wanted to have, then and if you want to upload, does the project gets created automatically? Do we have an option like that? Like if we prepare an XML and upload that into AnyPoint Studio to create a project. Is that possible?
No, actually, it's like this, Rama. What we do is we get the requirements, okay? But that requirements, your project starts by designing the RAML, API RAML.
Okay.
So in that API designer, you design all these things, what your endpoints, your your query parameters, what kind of payload you need to accept. So all the things you design a RAML.
Yeah.
In the RAML you design the things. So what you do is after designing a RAML, you import that RAML to Anypoint Studio while creating a project. So project will be created by taking a RAML as an input. A skeleton flows will be created inside a project. Okay, project created with skeleton flows. Now your job is you need to provide a full-fledged implementation to that API.
Okay.
Usually create a project like that. We won't create a project by taking any other file, only taking a RAML API file into consideration.
Okay.
Okay, going forward, I demonstrate you how to means designing when things come, designing a RAML, importing RAML to Anypoint Studio, how you provide your implementation. That things I demonstrate you.
Okay.
As of now, I'm creating a project usually in Anypoint Studio because these are concepts we're discussing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I understand. So like uploading XML is not a valid scenario, but still we can, like as you said, source code is always like we can edit, like instead of adding modules drag and drop, we can always edit the source code in configuration XML and add all modules. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, I understand.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah.
So guys, anybody having any other questions? Ravi, Shiva, Varun?
Yeah, clear. So tomorrow we'll discuss about the call process. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Correct.
Flow reference. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, guys. Then see you tomorrow. Yeah. Thank you.